Peter Mertens. I'm General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Belgium, also a member of the Parliament in Belgium. Yes, we were trying to have good contacts in Europe with other left parties, and so we're now visiting Mexico to get inspired also from experiences in Latin America and the Caribbean of leftist initiatives. I think the most important was, we said to ourselves, you have to have a backbone, so you have to be a principled party. And so we are a Marxist party and we believe in emancipation of the working class. Secondly, you have to be flexible, principled and flexible. And thirdly, you have to be a working class party, so really a party of doers, not a talking party. So these initiatives like free medicine for the people, etc., is very important for us. Okay, Europe is in a political crisis and Europe is in an economical crisis. It's a very bad situation for the moment. And Europe, also the European leaders, they're running after Trump, and that's a very bad thing. There is this picture of these European leaders in the Oval Office in the White House, where Trump is lecturing all the European leaders, and so there's no leadership in Europe anymore. And so there is chaos, and right-wing, extreme right, they will try to use this chaos. But we say, okay, we don't have to be afraid of the chaos. Okay, this is the period. Let's be among the people. Let's mobilize the people. Let's orient the people, and then we can take back some people who are misled for the moment. Yes, it's a difficult times, but we can regain people that are now misled by the extreme right. Yeah, I do think that the world is tilting. I wrote a book about that called Mutiny, Motin in Spanish. And the world is tilting, and so there is Asia, there's China coming up, there's the US being very afraid of China and trying to impose a Cold War on everyone. And in this period of changing world, there is a lot of chaos. And I think it's important that the left-wing parties are really optimistic and try to use this situation to mobilize people, because it's amidst a crisis that we have to be there. It's easy to be leftist when everything goes well, but when there is chaos, when there's people misled, when there is racism, etc., you have to be among the working class. There's a lot of possibilities also. We have to grasp them. Yeah, I'm very pleased to visit for the first time Mexico. I'm very pleased with my visit, also for the fact that in Mexico there is another agenda now being put forward. And like you're constructing in Mexico social security system. You're trying to free people from poverty. More than 30 million people freed from poverty. Wow, all my respect. And in Europe, the bourgeois parties are destroying social security systems, and you are constructing. So I think we all can get inspired of this phase happening in Mexico. Also vis-a-vis Trump, because you're a neighbor of the United States of America, a neighbor also of this Trump regime. And in eye to eye in the situation of Mexico, well, I have a lot of respect of what you are doing. I think it's very important now to see, because there is this new phase of capitalism and imperialism, where there's really this genocide in Gaza, Trump having power, bombardments, etc., aggression, lies from Trump before the United Nations. We don't have the luxury not to learn from each other. We don't have this luxury anymore. We have to learn everything that is working, everything that is good in mobilizing people, in helping people, in emancipating people. We have to steal from each other. Copy left. So we are also here to learn from Morena Party and what you're doing. And I do agree. Maybe you should not agree on every topic. It is not necessary, but we can learn from each other. That's the time. We need to do that. I do agree. Absolutely. I think I come also from Europe, and there's some left-wing parties, they are specialized in creating depression. But that is not the task of a leftist party. They organize meetings, and when you're not depressed entering the meeting, you're surely depressed leaving the meeting. But that's not emancipation. Emancipation is making people feel great again, making feel the working class great again. Emancipation of the working class. And so it's really a task to not to be naive. It will be difficult times. It will be difficult times in front of imperialism. But the future is ours. The future cannot be something else than a new socialist society, a new equal society, a new ecological, democratical society. That's the only emancipatory project that's possible. And so, yes, this optimism, we have to reunite this optimism. It's very important. It's very important to have the people involved also in all the decision, because the real change comes from people. And in our view, people have to guide also the societies. On the people who create all the wealth in the society, they have to make the decisions. And so if you're not implicating all these people inside your party already today, it won't be possible tomorrow in the new society to involve people. So this aspect to really have this participative democracy, to involve people, working class people, not really working class people and people from all strata in the parties, is very important for us. And at the same time, there has to be a democratic leadership. It has to be transparent, etc. You need also a leadership that's transparent, that's democratic, etc. But you need both. I think not on that level that we see here in Latin America. This really corporate right-wing media, almost openly sponsored by Trump, almost openly spreading lies and anti-communism and anti-Marxism, etc. This is the Champions League, I think, sponsored in Latin America. So we are on another league, but yes, we see the tendency of monopolization at one hand, but also monopolization of the extreme right groups having influence on the mass. And so we think we have to create our own media. That's at one point communication is very important. How to speak, to speak clearly, that people can understand you, to speak with enthusiasm, people can smell it if you're honest or not. And on the second level, you have to have a communication on the floor, in the people's quarters, in the factories, etc. Nothing can replace the door-by-door approach, the personal approach. So it's both levels of communication, in my opinion, are very important. Having a feet on the ground, but also being very creative, young, etc. on social media, and like what you're doing in your YouTube channel. I think the most important for us is we try to create our own zone of influence and our own media and our own approaches, because if we are like rabbits before a light, really freezed, you can't. We know it is like that. We know there's a lot of lies being told. Now, only yesterday there was a debate in the Belgian parliament. I was in Mexico, I wasn't there, about should we forbid the Workers' Party of Belgium because we are a left-wing party. Okay, they didn't do it, but we know that all these lies is coming. I think you have to stay with both feet on the ground, and the trust has to come from the people. That's the most important thing. You can be proud and you can be okay with your party, with your collective, if there is trust from the people. That there is no trust from the big media groups. Okay, it's like that. Even exaggerating, if all the big media groups are really telling good things about us, we would be very worried what we're doing wrong. I think we are already in a phase of war, right? This phase where the Asian economy is lifting up, where China is really challenging for the first time the United States of America. It's a big challenge. And so the tectonical plates are in touch with each other, and I think this period is a period of war, and it's already there. It's already there in the Congo. 6 million deaths for the lithium. The control of the lithium is there in Palestine. With the genocide is there when they bombard illegally the vessels before the coast of Venezuela, etc. So the threats of war is not only a threat; it's a reality already. But yes, I think we're at the beginning of this new phase of war, and we must prepare a little bit like the Venezuelan people is preparing themselves. But amidst all these troubles, we also have to see a perspective, because we don't have to be naive, but we have to see also in these troubles the possibility to grow and to inspire people. That what is small today can grow very, very fast in times of trouble. People can learn much more in a turmoil than in 10 or 20 or 30 years of science. So it can go each way, and depends also on us if it will go to a democratic and social orientation or not. Yeah, that's the situation. No? You work in a certain condition, not the condition you chose for yourself. You are a neighbor of the United States. There is the Trump regime, but it's not a very friendly regime towards left wing. So that's the condition, and you have to take that in account. And it means that maybe not all the things you want to do I think the most important, like for us, is you have a goal. You know you have a horizon. Where would we arrive? And that is the backbone. Our horizon is emancipating people, going towards a socialist project, and that you cannot never forget. And then there is the way towards the goal, towards the whole, and that's tactics. And that the tactics go zigzag, that's normal. And maybe you do 2 steps backwards to have 3 steps forwards. That's no problem if you're going towards the goal. That's the most important thing, I think. Yeah, I think that's mainly because of the pressure of the European peoples. Because, like, for example, in Belgium, we had 13 national demonstrations. The last 2 ones were 110,000 in Brussels. For the Belgian scale, it's a big manifestation, big manifestation. And so there is a push in Belgium, in France, in Spain, in Italy. There was a general strike of the working class in solidarity with Palestine. These things happening in Europe. And so the peoples are pushing the governments towards more explicit positions in support of Palestine. That's important. But we need the push from it's not a spontaneous thing that one day the European leaders say, okay, now we're in favor of Palestine. It didn't happen like that. It's because they are pushed by really a large mass movement. I think the most important thing is that the world also economically is changing, and the fact that China is raising, that India is raising, that the BRICS countries are there. I know it's a pragmatical approach from the BRICS countries, but economically they're gaining weight. And that's completely new. And so there's a little bit panic in the White House. It was already there with Obama. The pivot to Asia didn't start with Trump, neither with Biden. It started already with Obama, and they are afraid. And so there is the economical rise of China, there is a technical rise of China, and I think it's important that every country stays multilateral, meaning having also trade with China, with South Africa, with Brazil, and not being too dependent only on the US. For European Union, it's very important not to cut ties, for example, with China. The European Union did something very crazy. They cut themselves from the Russian gas. It was very cheap gas from Gazprom, and the whole German economy, the most important economy in Europe, was depending on cheap gas of Russia, and then they cut itself, and now Germany is for 3 years in depression. It's a self-inflicted depression. It was an act of self-destruction. And now we have to prevent that Europe does the same thing with China. To decouple from China would be disastrous for the European economy. And so to stay open, to have trade with BRICS countries and have an open mind as a country, because whatever Trump will do, whatever another president in the US will do, the rise of China, the rise of India, economically, it will continue. It will continue. And so we have to see also in our own minds that the weight of the world, the centrality of the economy in the world is shifting from the US towards Asia. And that's mentality shifts for everyone, I think. Yeah, I think it has to go hand in hand, and the emancipation for the working class is important, and how to develop your own industries is important. How to develop the economic sovereignty of each country is very important, not to have a dependent economy. That's important, and each case is different. So it can be that you have to take some protectionist measures on some sector, and etc. It depends on the situation. Being sovereign, being independent is very important. But at the same time, it's always with an international view. It cannot be, in my opinion, a chauvinistic, nationalistic view of replying ourselves to our own nation. No, we are part of a global world, a global situation, and so we have to educate also people in the international situation. So we need to do both, I think. No, for us, okay, now in our situation, we said, okay, we will go step by step. The world is changing rapidly. We will take our responsibility, but at the same time, we will go step by step. And our electoral advances must be also translated in organizational structures. So we won't go too fast. Some people don't like it. They say, no, no, go fast. And we say, no, no, we are not we have this tale about three pigs, little pigs, and one is building a house in a wooden house, and it's destroyed. And then there's the one taking all the time building a house of stone for the storms to come. And so we're building also a house of stones, because organizational structure and that will take time. And then we'll try to grow, and we'll see where we land. We will take at one point a responsibility, but in our situation it's also difficult. Like you said, we are in the midst of Europe. We are also in a country with the midst of the NATO. There's a lot of pressure, not only of the European Union on us, but also from the NATO headquarters is in Brussels. And so the Americans, they have a lot to say. So we'll see in which way we can gain some power. But we do it step by step. That's our point of view. And in the meantime, we're trying to get inspired by other experience, and we're trying also to bring together left-wing parties from everywhere. That's our vision.